This is because you nobody know each other. Niece. So now
folks, we're going to ask you to start taking seats because we got about 3 minutes to share the seats. Folks, we're going to ask you to start taking the seats right now. We got about 3 minutes to
spend a week with him, so it'll be nice. He's doing good. He's doing good. Loves California. What can I say? You know? The land of the fruits and the nuts. Yeah. He's in his business and is very successful. He's
Michael would want it that way.
You saving
I
money?
just jumped that way. Jump over. Seriously. Go say hi to Carl. Mom's gonna be sitting here and I'm gonna sit down. No, it's fine. Mom will sit right here.
I don't know if you need to use receiving or what. I can get you those back doors there for cabs. All right, there's a hall back there. And I'll show you who to. It's the one.
Okay.
You've had a chance to see the family. We're going to ask the president to take seats, please. In a moment, with the family, we'll ask them to take seats.
That's all right. No, that's all right. I think those specific things were there. Any, I'm now going to any excuse for Walmart. You can. Happy birthday. Driver's license? Car? Look at you, though. Wow. Yeah. Just having fun and studying. Valerie, when school starts in a couple weeks? Before Memorial?
Or after the breaks. Well, you move in the after the class is 3rd.
begin services with military honors. I ask everyone to please rise. Your active duty or not. Use the hand salute. Otherwise, we're going to ask everyone else to put your hand over your heart for the playing of fast.
Friends, we gather together this morning to celebrate the life and to honor the memory of Michael Temsey. Michael's family so very much appreciates your presence here with us this morning. Your presence offers the family a great deal of comfort and respect. My name is Roger Klein. I'm one of the rabbis at Congregation Mishkan Or. The Hebrew Mishkan Or means dwelling place of light, and it's my honor to be here to honor Michael this morning. Adonai ma'adam v'teda ehu ben enosh v'chashvehu. O Lord, what are we that you have regard for us? What are we that you are mindful of us? We are like a breath. Our days are as a passing shadow. We come and we go like grass, which in the morning shoots up renewed, in the evening it fades and it withers. You cause us to turn to dust, saying, return, you mortal creatures. Would that we were wise, that we understood whither we are going. For when we die, we carry nothing away. Our glory does not accompany us. Mark the wholehearted and behold the upright. They shall have peace. Many of you know, I'm sure, that the biblical book of Psalms contains 150 poems. If one were to try to bring organization to that number, it would be difficult to do. Some of the order is random. On the other hand, the first psalm announces the goal of the book of Psalms. And the first word of the first psalm is ashrei, which is an intensive form of the word happiness. Happiness, we know, is different from pleasure. Pleasure is a good thing, but it's temporary and not deep. Happiness at its best is both durable and brings a depth quality to our lives. As I read the first psalm, you will notice the psalmist's view of how we strive for and attain happiness. Happy are those who have not followed the counsel of the wicked, or taken the path of sinners, or joined the company of the rather the teacher study that teaching day and night. They are like a tree planted beside streams of water that yields its fruit in its season, whose foliage never fades and whose fruit always flourishes. Before we read the 23rd Psalm, I want to make a comment about it. It is deservedly famous, not only because it's one of the centerpieces of the book of Psalms, but because of its content, which is rich and wide. You'll agree, I think, that any list that contains an odd number of items has a middle item. There are 55 Hebrew words in the book, in the 23rd Psalm, which means that the middle item, the middle word, is the 28th word, 27 on either side. That word is in Hebrew atah, which means you. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. This is one of the central pieces of comfort in this psalm, that we're not alone in our grief and at times of difficulty. The promise is that God is with us. But in our tradition, but not only in our tradition, part of our ethics is to imitate the actions of God. And just as God is promised to be with us at times of difficulty, so are we commanded to be with others who are having difficulties, are suffering, are in pain at a particular moment. And your presence here this morning is a sign that you are with the family and I hope that you will continue to look in on them in the days and weeks and months to come. This is really the central message of the 23rd Psalm. As I read it, if you know it in whole or in part, join with me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Kohelet, the author of the biblical book of Ecclesiastes, reminds us in a famous passage that for everything there is a season, a time for every experience under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot what is planted, a time to tear down and a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to grieve and a time to dance, a time to throw stones and a time to gather stones, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to discard, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak. Michael Temsey died this past Tuesday at the age of 94. He lived a long and a full life, and those who admired and loved him will never forget him. Michael was born in Chicago to his parents, Michael and Mary, on March 12th, 1932. When he was still a child, his family moved to Canton, Ohio. After graduating from high school, Michael joined the Army, and he was stationed in Japan for 2.5 years during the Korean conflict. After he was discharged from the Army, Michael attended Kent State University, where he continued to be an excellent student, majoring in liberal arts and graduating with honors. After graduation, Michael worked at the Social Security Administration offices, first in downtown Cleveland, then at the office on 105th, where he met his future wife, Arlene, who immediately recognized Michael's maturity and his positive nature, and where they both fell in love with one another. After a couple of years working for the Social Security Administration, Michael moved over to the National Labor Relations Board, where he worked for the rest of his career. At the NLRB, Michael specialized in both running union elections and serving as a mediator, thereby helping to resolve labor disputes. And to do these things, Michael had to travel to many small towns which had factories, an aspect of his work which he loved. Now, when I met with Michael's adoring family a couple of days ago, one of the first things I asked them, once I had heard about his work for the NLRB, one of the first things I asked them was what made him so successful in his job. And then they told me the following, that Michael was intelligent, insightful, fair-minded, and entirely without a temper. Indeed, he had a kind of calmness about him, as well as a sense of dedication to his work, all of which made him excellent at what he did, and just the kind of person any employer would want to have. And so it stands to reason that Michael loved his work, and that this work gave him a great deal of satisfaction. And Michael's family went on to tell me about other personal characteristics of his, which made him the wonderful person that he was. That he was a good listener who listened without judgment, that he had a generous heart, and that he lived his life with humility. And outside his work, Michael had many interests. He loved to walk, and he loved to bowl. He played tennis until he was 89 years old. In addition, he was a devoted patron of the Broadway theater series, as well as a devotee of the Cleveland Pops Orchestra and the Cleveland Jazz Orchestra. He also loved classical music, and he loved to spend time at the Cleveland Museum of Art. In other words, his tastes were broad and self-evidently durable. And his family went on to tell me, with a great deal of excitement of their own, that Michael took lots of pictures, lots of videos of his family and of his family's activities. And on family trips, he would notice a scene and exclaim, "Look at this," whereupon he would stop the car to get out and take a picture. And so just as Michael was devoted to and found deep satisfaction in his work, he was similarly devoted, consistently, and over a long period of time, to his family and to the hobbies and the interests that captivated him. Michael is survived by his wife of 58 years, Arlene, by his daughters, Brenda and Lee, by his sons-in-law, Dan and Ryan, by his brother Philip and his sister-in-law, Joyce, and by his dear companions, his dog, Teddy, and his cat, Harry. He was predeceased by his parents, Michael and Mary, by his brother Richard, and by his sister Joanne. Michael Temsey was a wonderful person. He had a long marriage, raised a fine family, and he enjoyed a stimulating and satisfying profession, as well as several avocational passions. And at the conclusion of my conversation the other day with Michael's family, his two daughters beautifully summed up the sterling qualities of their father. Lee, you said that he was the epitome of kindness. And as a sterling example of this, he was able to fit right in with Arlene's family. And Brenda, you remarked that he was really a good person with an upbeat personality who got along with everyone and made anyone with whom he came in contact a better person for knowing him. In sum, those who loved and admired Michael Temsey will never forget him. His memory will always be our blessing. Amen. I now want to call on several people who will reflect upon the life, the qualities, the accomplishments of Michael Temsey. First, his daughter, Brenda.
I just thought I would share some of the things that my dad and I did over the years. As a little kid, we'd walk over to the elementary school playground around the corner. We'd read comics together, play catch in our yard, taught us how to ride our bikes. We'd get ride up the driveway in the car with him when he got home from work. He helped me with my homework and writing papers, challenging me to expand my vocabulary, doing floor exercises at the house, and being healthy and exercise was a priority. Listening to classical music, having him wave to us at the outdoor pool after he finished playing tennis. He read to me before I went to bed, and this was the beginning of our many talks and the advice he gave. When he tucked me in, I could ask him anything. And as I got older, he attended our school concerts and our swim shows and the family events. Family vacations, he drove us all around the country, taking pictures and recording the events and travels. Of course, he was there for birthdays and graduations, going to the JCC on the weekends, watching news shows and anything educational. I could see he was open-minded and kind-hearted, not speaking negatively about any people. He was always there for us, and mostly in the den, but always our talks and his words and his advice continued. And as an adult, we shared the same alma mater. He'd drive me to Kent. My parents would come to Kent, help with the luggage and setting up my dorm. They were there for parent days. And I remember one time he was driving me home from Kent, and he was talking about stopping at the JCC before we went home. And I told him I have my stuff. We both went. Tracker doing weights, and I was probably at the pool. There were many phone calls and dinners at my parents' house, where our talks and his advice continued. After college, I could appreciate and admired very much that he wanted to further his education at a time when it was something not many did. He loved learning, and he was always ready to move with the times. He welcomed and he was excited, and he learned new technology. He set up my TVs and recording devices and my desktop computer. When it came time to buy cars, he gave me lots of information and advice, and he would be with me to look and choose. At my house, he helped me put things together, some benches, outdoor benches, and much more. He was very handy. He even helped me out when my basement flooded. And so as an adult, he was still always there for us. He got to know my husband, Dan, and participated in our wedding. He walked me down the aisle, and we had a father-daughter dance. Actually, before that, we had this big trip to Vegas, and I think he was 80, and he was ready to stay out later than my sister and I. and he was always ready and tried to enjoy life and make the most of it. In more recent years, hanging out in the den, his room, walks at the park around the corner where elementary school used to be. He was always fit and capable to get out there and wanted to move. He was still working out on all our home equipment in the basement. At the park, we would sit and talk and enjoy the weather and the scenery. We rested on the benches while we made our way around the park, and he would talk to those who passed us, making them smile and encouraging the joggers. He would visit my house and sit on the deck. He loved the house and the neighborhood and the yard. I would go with him to his VA appointments, and we would have lunch together afterwards. Visiting him when he was staying at the VA for rehab, we would eat lunch together and enjoy the outdoors. Watching the way he enjoyed visits with us, having a sense of humor, and even being able to make jokes in the emergency room and telling the doctors that he felt okay. During these visits, our conversation and his words and his advice, I enjoyed and appreciated still. His words and conversations were always a bright spot in my days. His advice I got from the time I was a little kid until now helped me get through each day, especially the hard ones, and always will. His company was a pleasure. His outlook on life was positive. The way he appreciated each day, because he always recognized all that he had. Something he taught me when I was very little. He made sure to enjoy each day as much as possible and make the most of it. Dad, you acknowledged and complimented my decisions and accomplishments. Your love and advice are invaluable. Daddy, how lucky I am to have a father special as you.
Michael's daughter, Lee.
My dad turned 41 just a week after I was born. At the time, that was pretty uncommon. And from a young age, I remember worrying that having an older dad would somehow mean I would have less time with him as an adult. But as the years went by, I realized that my father never thought of himself as anything but young and capable. This was a man who was still playing tennis with me at 89, riding his health rider in the basement at 93, and fighting hard every day he spent in skilled nursing to get strong enough to come back home. When Dad turned 80, we were on our way to his birthday dinner celebration when he told me, and quite seriously, that he read that 80 is the new 60. My response was awesome, because that means I'm only 29, as I had just turned 49 the week before. One of the very special things I got to share with my dad was our birthdays. Mine is March 6th and his March 12th. And after I moved to Columbus, we began celebrating our birthdays together. I will certainly miss that tradition, but every year that I have the privilege of blowing out my own candles, I will celebrate him too. When I graduated from the Ohio State University, I didn't even do that on purpose, I just forgot to say I had the opportunity to purchase a pair of alumni football tickets for one game each year. And every single year, my dad was my guest of choice for that second ticket. We made so many memories together. We had good games and big wins, heartbreaking losses, Virginia Tech, great seats and horrible seats, storm delays, sweltering late summer games, and games spent sitting in the rain and snow. And over the years, we loved looking back and talking about all of them. And at age 35, and despite my dad's many attempts throughout my childhood, I finally wanted to learn to play tennis. From then on, Dad and I made our way onto the courts together year after year, until about 5 or 6 years ago. We marked several Father's Days that way, and I will always be grateful that I finally came around to learning the sport that he loves so much. From then, my father taught me that a life could be well-rounded, that you could love sports and the arts just as much. You could spend one day at a football game and another at a concert or a museum, and you could find joy in all of it. He taught me to be kind, and he taught me that far more by example, but also by words. Because of all he taught me, I was able to become independent. He taught me how to check my tire pressure, to always carry a flashlight, the proper way to hand wash a car, and how to use a drill and a screwdriver. And, of course, Dad made sure I learned some very important financial lessons. He made sure I had an IRA at 21. He taught me to never carry a credit card balance, and he taught me how to do my own taxes. When my sister and I were little, my dad filled our days with simple adventures. You probably just heard this. He read us comics and books before bed. He took us kite flying and played board games with us. He also drove us cross-country, patiently listening to the Annie soundtrack and to our own made-up songs that usually consisted of 5 repetitive lyrics, including "Look at the cornfields," repeated for most of the trip. At the time, those were simply the things we did together. But now I understand that they were gifts. His time, his patience, and his willingness to enter fully into our little world. Those ordinary moments became some of the memories that I treasure the most. And as my own family grew, Dad embraced them too. He took a sincere interest in the lives and the futures of my stepchildren. He was always asking how they were doing and genuinely caring about the answer. I think one of the greatest gifts my dad gave me was that he was able to leave this world knowing he had given me what I needed to carry on without him. Not because I won't miss him. I will miss him more than I can put into words. But because he spent a lifetime teaching me. He taught me how to take care of myself, how to appreciate life, how to keep learning, how to find joy in both the simple things and the beautiful things, how to stay young at heart, and most importantly, how to be a good person. There is a line from the prayer of St. Francis, which has meant so much to me. For it is in giving that we receive. Dad gave so much of himself to the people he loved, and in doing so, he gave us something that death cannot take away. We received his lessons, the moments we shared, his humor, his kindness, his love, and all the memories we now have the privilege of carrying forward. So, Dad, I hope you're at peace. I hope you feel young at heart once again, and I hope somewhere there is a tennis court waiting for you. And as you always said whenever we said goodbye, be good. I will, Dad.
Now Michael's son-in-law, Ryan.
I'm Ryan Stafford, and I'm Lee's husband, and it was a pleasure to be part of Michael's family. This prayer of St. Francis, Lee mentioned, is very special to her. She asked me to share it with you because to her, its words reflect so much of who her dad was and the qualities she will always remember in him. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me bring love. Where there is difference, let me bring pardon. Where there is doubt, let me bring faith. Where there is despair, let me bring hope. Where there is darkness, let me bring light. Where there is sadness, let me bring joy. O divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, pardoning that we are pardoned, are born to eternal life.
God is sure our immovable rock. All God's work is upright. Who can say, what is it that you do? The Eternal governs what is above and what is below, overseeing both the valleys of death and the heights of life. God is sure our immovable rock. Who can say to God, what will you do? You are righteous in your dealings in both death and life, and every soul is in your trust. We praise you, Judge of truth, who ordains death and summons us to life. Help us to feel your presence at this time, so that we may declare that God is upright, our rock, in whom there is no unrighteousness. With Job we say, Adonai natan, v'Adonai lakach, Yehi Shem Adonai mevarach. The Lord has given, the Lord has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. We praise you, O God, Judge of truth. Eternal is your might, O God. All life is your gift. Great is your power to save. With love you sustain the living. With great compassion you give life to all. You send help to the falling and healing to the sick. You bring freedom to the captive, keeping faith with those who sleep in the dust. Baruch atah Adonai notea b'tochenu chayei olam. We praise you, God, who implants immortal life within us. In nature's ebb and flow, God's eternal law abides. When tears dim our vision and grief clouds our understanding, we often lose sight of God's eternal plan. Yet we know that growth and decay, life and death, all reveal the divine purpose. God, who is our support in the struggles of life, is also our hope in death. We have set God before us and shall not despair. In God's hands are the souls of all the living and the spirits of all flesh. Under divine protection we abide, and by God's love are we comforted. O life of our life, soul of our soul, cause your light to shine into our hearts and fill our spirit with abiding trust in you. I want to conclude this service penultimately. There is still something after this. With a prayer that is very important to the Jewish tradition, and that is the Kaddish prayer. Some of you are familiar with it. The word Kaddish comes from the word kadosh, which means holy. It is a prayer that is connected inextricably to death and with memories of our loved ones. There's a paradox at the heart of the prayer, though it is so connected to our memory of our loved ones, recited during the initial days of mourning and then annually, the yahrzeit. The paradox is that it doesn't mention death at all. What it does do is praise God for the many gifts with which we are endowed, the gifts of our lives, the gifts of our friends and our families, the gift of meaningful work and meaningful activities. We thank God, especially at difficult times, for these things. It suggests also that God is near to the mourners to comfort us. And it is also a prayer for peace, that at this moment when we are focused on our concerns, on our beloved deceased, we also have an obligation to look forward, and to look forward optimistically for days when there will be peace on earth. As you are able, I invite you to rise. I'm going to recite the Kaddish in Hebrew. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah v'yalma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayeducho be'Yisrael v'agalav izman kariv v'yamru amen Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach le'olam alamei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudashah b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbachata v'nechemata da'amiran b'yalma v'yimru amen Yehei shalom araba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and comfort all the bereaved among us. Let us say together, amen. You may be seated. To conclude our service, I'm going to call once again on Michael's son-in-law, Ryan, who is going to play a song by Josh Groban, a song that Michael dearly loved.
Who can say for certain, maybe you're still here. I feel you all around me, your memory so clear. Deep in the stillness, I can hear you speak. You're still an inspiration. Can it be that you are mine forever, love, and you are watching over me from up above? And isn't faith believing all power can't be seen? As my heart holds you just one beat away, I cherish all you gave me every day. 'Cause you are mine forever, love, watching me from up above. And I believe that angels breathe, and that love will live on and never leave. Fly me up to where you are, beyond the distant star. I wish upon tonight to see you smile, if only for a while to know you're there. A breath away is not far to where you are. I know you're there. A breath away is not far to where you are.
I want to announce that Michael's family will receive friends at the home of Dan Zubra and Brenda Temsey. They will receive friends at the residence, their residence at 5334 Brentwood Court in Highland Heights. They'll receive today between 1 and 4 o'clock this afternoon, and then again this evening from 6 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Once again, we so much appreciate your presence here with the family, which means so very much to them at this difficult time.
Folks, at this time, services are concluded. Thank you for being with the family. If you wish, you can exit to the rear or the front of the chapel, please.
All right.